SparkDojo Youtube チャンネルです。今回のパートナーは
トレーナーのたくまです。
たくまです。よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
さて、今回はですね、世界ではなぜ日本人リーダーが少ないのかというテーマについてお話ししていきたいと思います。毎年アメリカのビジネス雑誌フォーチュン誌が発表している世界のリーダートップ50というランキングがあるんですが、去年2018年はですね、国連の中光泉さんが37位にランクインしたものの、残念ながら他に日本人の経営者や政治家はランクインしなかったんですね。で、去年だけではなくこれまでも日本人はあまりランクインしなかったのですが、なぜグローバルで活躍できるリーダーは日本から出てこないのか、このテーマについて考えていきたいと思います。So, Takuma, personally, I don't have much experience working in Japan, but I know you have a lot of experience working in Japan. So, have you ever had Japanese bosses? What are your impressions?
Yes, I've worked in consulting, in the business consulting industry, and I've also worked in the automotive industry for a number of years, each in Japan. And working with Japanese bosses, I've seen that they struggle when they speak to a more global audience, whether this is clients or whether this is internally.
Do you think there are factors like cultural factors or social factors? Or is it that individual?
There's definitely a little bit of everything. For instance, even just with education, I don't think public speaking is something that Japan does a lot of. And this impacts sort of speaking to a bigger audience, especially if you don't know them. For instance, when you're working on a global team. So there's also that, and then the cultural aspect, where I guess the sort of way of speaking, communicating, tends to be more top-down or one way in Japanese companies, which is not always the same in different cultures.
Right, yeah. I think I've worked in the entertainment industry in Japan for just a number of years, but from what I've seen, I completely agree. And also I found that culturally, not a lot of people say no. So if the boss, if the man at the top or the woman at the top says something, then not many people have the initiative to say, wait, no, I think this is a better idea. So big projects are decided by one person and not a team of people. So that might be also cultural too. Right?
I guess that makes it difficult for new leaders to step up in a global context from Japan because they can't say no, they can't disagree. They're always subordinates, I guess.
Interesting. Okay. Well, at SparkDojo, we look at communication from three perspectives. We use three pillars: mindset, language, and communication techniques. So we want to look at each pillar and see how we, you and I, can show more leadership in life and at work. So let's start with the first one, mindset. What are some tips or suggestions you can make about mindset for a leader?
One thing that we just said was assertiveness, right? It's not necessarily just about saying no, but it's also about expressing, it's basically about expressing your thoughts, speaking up about what you think and what you feel is right. So if it's not always the case that your boss or people around you are saying what you think is correct, it's important to say that.
Yeah, and I also think in line with your point in curiosity and trying to sort of find out, not assuming that something is right or not assuming that there is one correct answer, and always being curious to see if there are different ideas or alternative ideas, I think is also important.
Being more curious.
Yeah,
right?
And this might go back to education, right? Because as an American, I grew up in a culture where you question the teacher. Like you ask questions. You don't assume that a textbook or a teacher is correct. So being curious, always trying to learn, and even challenging other people.
Critical thinking.
Yes.
Right? Critical thinking.
Great. Okay, so that's the mindset part. How about language?
Language-wise, I think it kind of ties into the whole mindset bit, but you have to have confidence. You have to show that you're confident in something. in your beliefs, in your ideas. So using strong words, I think, is actually quite important because you can share an idea without using strong words, but by using stronger words, people listen to it more. It's just a little bit of the nuance in the words you use.
Right. So the difference between I think, in my opinion,
I think versus I believe versus
I know,
yeah,
or I guarantee
I'm positive.
that this is, yes.
I'm positive this is the right thing to do.
So the message might be the same, but the word choices that you make alter the weight and the strength of your message. Okay, great. So that's language. And finally, techniques. Any communication techniques that you recommend to show leadership?
I think one thing that sticks to my mind is to always not be afraid to sort of jump in when things aren't going in the right direction.
But that's so difficult to do.
It is.
How can you do that?
It's just you put one sort of quick cushion before you make your statement. You say that you understand someone else's point, but also say, but isn't there something else?
So your technique that you're saying is agree first.
Yep.
Because it's so much easier to agree first. And then say, but you know what I also think? Or, yes, you are right. I agree with A, B, and C. However, I also believe that X, Y, and Z. So that cushion might make it easier for other people to process your disagreement.
It's a quick technique to sort of healthily disagree with something. I understand, or I agree. I see your point. And then say, but there's also maybe room for thinking about this.
Definitely. And also I think a second technique might be we value body language in SparkDojo. So the difference between a leader in a meeting who is going like this, saying, versus, very engaged, yes, I agree with what you're saying, these are my ideas, smiling, eye contact, leaning in, showing with your body and your face and your voice that you are engaged, is a good technique to also use. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned some new skills and techniques. Please check out our blog where we have more and more articles about mindset, language, and communication, and come to SparkDojo events where you can actually practice your leadership skills. See you in the next video. Bye.
Thank you, bye-bye.